Welcome, everyone, to the Faith First podcast. My name is Pastor Craig Brown with First Lutheran Church in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, a community of faith where we discover more together. This is episode 118 of the podcast on July 30th, 2025, a mini episode of sorts. I'll be giving you a quick update of things that are happening around the church as I am out and about this week, but got some fun stories too, visiting some 3-year-olds, and got some great stories from our kids that will inspire you as well. So thanks for checking in with us. Let's go ahead and get things started and put our faith first. As I said from the onset, this will be a mini episode here today because I am been away doing some family stuff for a couple of days and have a couple days more planned for some fun things to get away from the church for a little bit. And so my thanks to Pastor Katie Lau Lancaster and our fine devoted staff for picking up the pieces here while I'm away this week. Pastor Katie gave another great sermon this past weekend. I know that. I was not even at church, but I know that because I was visiting some 3-year-olds and their families, inviting them to consider starting Sunday school. A number of them are. I'm glad to report that. Very, very excited. Many of them committed to me on the spot there that they're going to come. The kids are just, emphatically, yes, I want to do it. Had a great experience with our vacation Bible school. Of course, Pastor Katie pulls out all the stops for that, so the kids were obviously ready for some more. But I heard from those families that they really enjoyed Pastor Katie's message. She really has been hitting it out of the park. I was just talking to another church member who told me Pastor Katie's message 2 weeks ago. He's like, man, she really put in the work for that one. It really spoke to my heart. So thanks again to Pastor Katie and all for keeping things together. I did stop by this week because I have our final men's group on Thursday night at Big Grove. We've been meeting for about 7-8 weeks, reading Mike Krzyzewski's book from Duke, the legendary Duke coach, called Leading from the Heart. It's a New York Times bestseller, and I caught up with Coach K in Chicago. I got to hear him speak at a leadership conference. I was actually in the first row, so I felt like he was talking to me the whole time. But just a man with great integrity. I've always hated Duke because they beat my beloved Iowa Hawkeyes men's basketball team. Seems like every year in the tournament in the early 90s when I was in college, we'd have to go up against Duke, and we'd have really good teams with Chris Street and A.C. Earl and all these guys. But Duke would always take us down, so I never really liked Duke or Coach K. But when I heard him speak, listened to him talk about the integrity that he has and we're all called to have as leaders, it really spoke to my heart. He told this particular story about the greatest basketball player he's ever coached. He said it was Kobe Bryant. He said, I've coached Michael Jordan, I've coached LeBron James, but hands down the best was Kobe Bryant. And they're going to the 2008 games. Coach K was honored to be the United States coach of the basketball team. And they're getting ready to go to the games, and Kobe Bryant's taking all these Caitlin Clark-esque long three-point shots and missing every one of them. And LeBron goes to Coach K and says, hey, Coach, we can't have Kobe taking these shots. I'm going to talk to him. And Coach K said to LeBron, don't. I'm the coach. I'll speak with him. It's my job. So he's just stressing all night. He makes an appointment with him the next day in his office, and he's stressing all night. What do you say to Kobe Bryant, who scored like 60 points in a game before? He can just take over basketball games. He's an incredible talent. You don't want to, make him mad and quit the team or whatever. So what he did was he put together a low light tape of all of his misses, and he called him in the next day. He put the video on. He said, after he got done, he looked at he looked at Kobe in the eyes, and Coach Krzyzewski said, now, Kobe, we can't have you taking these kind of shots in this tournament. Not only will we not win the gold medal as the United States, but we will not medal. And he said there was this pause, and Kobe looked at him in the eyes. He said, okay, Coach. And that was the end of it. It was Coach Krzyzewski's like, why did I stay up all night as a leader stressing out about what to say? When you have to tell people the truth, just tell them the truth. You have to hold each other accountable. He says, I want to hold my players accountable. I want them to hold me accountable as a leader. And I just took so much from that talk. And he said it really paid off when it came to the final game. And I think they were playing Australia. And they had no business being in this game, but they were playing outside of their heads, and they were within 2 points of the United States Stars. And it came down 30 seconds left. Coach K called timeout. USA had the ball. Krzyzewski said he grabbed his whiteboard to draw up a play, and he felt a hand come over his hand with his pen in it. And he looked up, and it was Kobe Bryant, who he had the hard talk with. And Kobe looked Coach K in the eyes. He says, Coach, we don't need to call a play. He says, really? LeBron, do you feel the same way? And LeBron says, yep, Coach, no play. We're fine. He looked at all the other pros and they said, yep, we're good, Coach. We got this. He says, okay, and, clapped his hands and put down his whiteboard, says, go get him. He says, I can't tell you what play they ran, but I think it was Kobe scored the last basket and won the game and won the gold for the United States. But it all goes back to that accountability that we have to have with each other when we're on a team. And that's certainly, Christ calls us to that accountability. Now you're just getting a mini sermon. So how about that for a bonus episode? But Christ calls us all to accountability because we're on Christ's team. And Christ hands us the reins of the church and says, here you go, church. Here you go, regular sinful people. You take over now. And you lead this thing because we're all accountable to each other. You're accountable to me. I'm accountable to you. We're all in this together. It takes all of us to be the Christian church, and we all have a role, including you, in this church. I was just so amazed by that. I'm really looking forward to our last discussion. We've had some 25 guys in the study. Never been the same group, which is always fun with the summer. You get 6 one week and a dozen the other week and 18 this week, and they're all different guys from different ages, we have one in co-college, all the way up to seniors, and just helping each other through life. And I'm just so looking forward to this last discussion because I wrote the questions around that. What is God calling you to now in your life as a man, as a father, as a leader? And that certainly applies to you women as well. What is God calling you to as a woman of faith? As a leader, as a person that God has called to this church. So anyway, it's just, I'm excited about that. And then coming back in to write those questions, I had a chance to look at the building so I can give you a quick visual update. We poured the last of our 3 portions of concrete in our parking lot, which will complete the driving portion of the parking lot. You can now, there's still construction fences up, so you can't get in, but now a person could drive their car clear through our lot, and that is all done. But the construction fences are still up because there's a last piece that needs to be poured for our walkway, which will be concrete mostly. There is a little garden area next, I think 4 or 5 feet wide, next to the church itself, where there'll be plants and mulch and stuff. But most of the garden stuff will be in large planters that are elevated. And Bob says they're self-watering, so you only have to water them, a few times a month. It'll be a little different than we had it, an in-the-ground garden area. It'll be elevated in pots and kind of dispersed throughout the walkway. And the walkway itself will all be concrete, but it'll be stamped concrete with colors, and it'll look like a stone path. So it'll look really beautiful. That portion is not done yet. And then once they get that done, I believe the construction fences come down. So just hang in there a few more weeks. We appreciate everyone who's volunteered as crossing guards, all of you who've been patient as you've come to church and continue to do so for the next couple weeks dealing with the construction. But we're making great progress. Inside the church, a construction wall has now been put up across the entire narthex, so it's a very narrow hallway to get into church, but you can still access the elevator. You can still access the door. There's plenty of room there to get in and out. And then there's a skinny hallway that takes you back to the bathrooms. So you can obviously do that in the offices, but it's walled off there because they're now pulling up the carpet in the old narthex, and next they'll be knocking down the columns that are just hollow and not have anything behind them, and kind of redoing all that area behind that construction wall over the next several weeks. Also, they've taken up the flooring on the admin stairwell. So we have 2 main stairwells in the church. One is by the administrative entrance door. That one, they've got the flooring up because we're not using that admin door other than emergency exit with the parking lot tore up. So they're going to do that stairwell now and put new treads on the steps, and it'll look really nice and be very functional when that's done. So that's also happening as well. So that's kind of a quick look at everything. Bob says we're still on track with money-wise and schedule-wise. So thanks, everyone, for your prayerful support and financial support for continuing to make this an incredible church. When it's all said and done, $7 million in renovation, from the sanctuary to a brand new pipe organ to a great facelift in the narthex and youth room, parking lot redone, and beautiful carpet and paint everywhere, and colorful wall clings in all the areas, including the children's areas. We're just really poised to grow. And like I said, I've been making these 3-year-old visits. I think I'm on my 8th or 9th visit now. And boy, I'm putting the miles on the car, but I'm loving every second of it because I went out to Central City for one. I've been to Fairfax for one, Marion. Oh my gosh, you people are all over our area. We really, truly are a regional church. And all these families are just super duper excited about our future and our church, and to be a part of it, and to be a church where we're truly open and welcoming to all people, regardless of your background, regardless of who you vote for, or what color your skin is. Everyone is welcome here at First Lutheran, and people are really feeling that, and that's so exciting to have a building that will kind of match that hospitality. It's been a dream of Pastor Steve's and our church council and our leadership and our staff, and now it's becoming a reality, and that's just awesome to see. So anyway, that's a quick update of what's going on. Pastor Katie will be preaching this weekend. I have no idea on what. We are recognizing Jim Grittner, who has been the voice of our radio show for 5 decades, so I'm excited. We have a special award for Jim. So be here, come and say congrats to Jim and hear Pastor Katie's great sermon. Either join us on site or join us online for those festivities this weekend. We don't have a narthex, so we're moving donut holes to the basement. So go on an adventure and come to church, and then head downstairs and have a cup of coffee and a donut hole and some fellowship time in a new area, which will be nice. It'll be renovated and beautiful to be in. So come check it out. That's a look at what's brewing and what's happening around First Lutheran Church. Thank you so much for being with us this week. We'll have a full episode for you next week. And until then, remember to put your faith first.